How is it going, my friends? Welcome back to Seeing Blind. It's been a while since I have posted here on YouTube. If you are new here, my name is Cindy. I'd love to have you part of our Seeing Blind community, and hopefully you'll benefit enough from today's discussion. You'll want to explore the rest of the channel. I love sharing tips, hacks, and discussion videos like this, as well as products, savings, and deals. I have my hands in lots of different pies. Expand the description box down below. I'll put my LinkTree there where you can see all the goings on. Today, I'm going to be discussing airport travel. Oh my goodness, there's a lot to unpack with this one. I've done a lot of airport travel here recently. This is currently at time of video, fall of 2022. And most of my most recent travels was with American Airlines. So no preference, just that happened to be who I was getting a ticket with, but I wanted to disclose in case anybody was curious. I'm going to be sharing the good, the bad, the ugly, and some tips regarding my personal experiences as a disabled passenger. Maybe you have chronic illness, maybe you're just someone who needs assistance navigating these crazy, chaotic buildings, but this video will hopefully have some good value for you. I am also going to, at the very end, cover some controversies. There's quite a few controversial discussions that have been going on regarding airport travel, so make sure you stick to the end, and I'd love to have you comment your experiences and 2 cents along the way as you listen. So without further ado, my friends, let's chat. Here are 2 things that I do before I even get to the airport, y'all. These are personal preference things. Not everybody does this or needs to do this or feels that it's important. For me, it is. It serves me better in the long run, especially when I'm traveling alone. So the first thing that I will do is contact the airline's customer service and make sure that they notate on every single ticket, every layover from my final destination and back home. Everything is noted that I am a disabled passenger, I need assistance, and require a sighted guide through the airport. This just serves me better in the long run because I feel like when I show up, it's already noted in their accounts. They should have already staffed and made sure they have someone on call. It's just extra assurance for me that as I'm traveling by myself, there should be no surprises, and hopefully it's more likely that everything will go smoothly. The second thing that I do is really focus and really think about my packing. I know this seems pretty self-explanatory, but you'd be surprised a lot of people forget that when you're traveling through the airport, it is not a great idea to really be bogged down with multiple bags or bulky bags or things that are heavy or just cumbersome. So I'm really thoughtful about being concise and consolidate as much as I can into something that's very manageable, something that's lightweight, it's not bulky, and it's not going to frustrate me as to pull either the small little piece of luggage or have something on my shoulder through the airport. I always want to make sure I have at least one hand free and available to use my white cane, because in unfamiliar environments, whether I need it or not, I am always going to have my white cane out in airports and things like that, and so I want to be able to freely use that with no stress or frustration. We're going to talk a little bit more about white cane use in just a moment, so hang with me. But please just keep that forethought in your mind as you're preparing to travel. Limit the frustration as much as possible when you're navigating new environments, and that starts with your luggage. Starting at the very beginning of the process, I'll usually have family, friends, or a friendly passerby that I can ask to make sure I can navigate my way to the airline's check-in or ticket area. Most of the time when I'm by myself, it goes very well and smoothly. They're able to assist and help. Hopefully you are able to book your flights during a time when the airport is not at its crazy, chaotic, busiest times. A good tip I'll throw in here is to call the airlines or the airport itself and ask what times during the day is it less populated, is it less chaotic and crowded because that's probably going to be the best time for you to fly and for them to be able to really accommodate you and meet you where your needs are. I usually have never had any problem at the beginning part of this process as long as I've had my ID and all the important information out and ready to go. This is where I expect the airline assistant to meet and assist me through the rest of the process, through security, through the terminals, and to my gate. I have had tons of different varying experiences with the airport assistants. They are clearly not trained in the etiquette or how to assist individuals with disabilities or to even communicate with them. So I'm going to be sharing a lot of experiences and some stories and such, the good, the bad, and share some tips along the way. Let me just point out on this most recent trip, I was very thankful and appreciative that they did not require me to get into a wheelchair. That's one of the controversies that we're going to discuss later in the video, so hang tight. They did ask, and I basically said, yes, I'd like to walk, and can I please follow you? I always prefer to follow my guides because especially if they're people I don't know. I'm constantly throughout the day surrounded by lots of stimulation, lots of people. I'm grabbed, I'm holding on to some people at some point in time. There's just a lot of touching throughout the day. So if I am able to just follow someone, that is my preference. It just kind of helps me maintain my bubble a little bit more and balance my overall daily experiences. So the first thing that I usually prefer and appreciate is verbal communication. In the very beginning, told this gentleman, hey, if I can follow you, that would be great. And so sure enough, he just led me, and he did really, really good at trying to verbally instruct and direct me and help orient me as we traveled through security and such, which again was par for the course. No problems there in my most recent experience. I feel like a lot of the frustration occurs when when it's overcrowded. The TSA people are really stressed out in managing a huge crowd of people. I feel like that's when the ball is dropped a lot when it comes to treating people with respect and meeting us where our needs are as disabled or individuals with chronic illness. Continuing on, this gentleman, I'm going to show you a little clip blurb here in just a bit of, him giving me some verbal instructions, some heads up, and look out for this, look out for that. And I could tell at times that he wasn't really sure what he was supposed to communicate. And this is usually when I try to reassure them, reinforce good communication. I will take what I need and discard the rest. I prefer over communication than a lack of it altogether, which I'm going to share an experience on that as well.
There's a wheelchair I'm pushing.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, if you go straight, watch out for the wheelchair.
Okay.
Door now.
Awesome, thank you.
It slopes down here.
As I mentioned earlier, I did have some bad experiences. So on the opposite end of the spectrum, as I said, a lot of these assistants I don't think are trained or really educated, hardly at all, when it comes to individuals with disabilities. And one of the things that I think contributed to this really terrible experience and story I'm going to share with you is lack of communication and lack of education. This was one of the most busiest, largest airports in the country. It was in Texas, and the gentleman that was trying to help me, I got the sense that he was not really comfortable with English very well. He didn't seem very confident and secure. He didn't really speak to me hardly at all. And what words I did hear were heavily accented, which I'm not going to judge against that because y'all know I got an accent too. But it was just the fact that he did not even attempt. I could tell just by the vibes and how he was reacting to me that he had very high anxiety and he was really, really overly cautious with me. Here's where I really got upset, y'all, and just felt very demeaned. I felt condescended. I just felt like my feelings and respect were not honored in this situation, and I don't think he was doing so intentionally. It was just simply a lack of communication and lack of education. One assistant was dropping me off and he was taking over. And the first assistant explained to him, like, hey, she just needs you to guide her onto the plane and into the seat. The second guy, he never really asked me anything. His first mistake was that he assumed what my needs were. And at first he tried to, grab me. I was like, and I kind of backed away, like, no, please don't grab me. So then he proceeded to grab my cane. And he kept trying to pull me by my cane down the hallway. Guys, this is a huge no-no. If anybody ever has had this happen to you, I hope you weren't as upset by it as I was. And I'm one of those that I never make a big conflict or spiel about it, but I do internalize a lot. And I did advocate for myself. I told him many times, please, sir, let go of my cane. My cane needs to touch the ground. I said it repeatedly. If I was getting a little too close to the wall, or if he thought I was headed the wrong angled the wrong direction, he would, instead of correcting me verbally or hey, heads up, veer a little to the left, he would grab my cane again over and over. Never grab someone's mobility aid and pull them to lead them by that. That's what we need to navigate our environment with and get that biofeedback. I was so upset because, again, as I was advocating for myself, he kept doing it, and that was kind of putting salt on the wound. He really was not listening to what I was telling him and honoring my wishes. Instead, he was just grabbing my cane and pulling me like a dog. Switching gears a little bit here to pre-boarding. It's kind of controversial in that some people get into the whole argument of privilege versus accommodation. Some people might take advantage of it, and some people truly need it, but they're judged for it. So I have been on both sides of the fence. I do value and depend on pre-boarding as a blind individual. I'm going to show you a clip sharing some of my thoughts and the good experiences I had with pre-boarding and why it's so important to me in just a moment. But I just wanted to highlight that a lot of individuals waiting for planes, they forget that a lot of disabilities are invisible. If I don't have my white cane out and someone just glances at me, they may not realize that I'm legally blind and can't navigate more than a few feet in front of me, nor could I be able to find my seat on a plane. And so because of that, they may judge, they may get mad, well, why is she pre-board? Why is she getting on the plane early? Next thing you know, everyone thinks you're just being treated specially. I am disabled. Could I get on the plane with everybody else? Probably. Is it going to be a lot more difficult? Yes. Is it going to be a lot more difficult to understand what the flight attendants need to tell me? Yes. It's just one of those things where traveling with a disability or with a chronic illness is hard enough as it is. So if there is something that can be done to help accommodate and ease that experience just the slightest bit, it is an accommodation that is needed, okay? And I wish people would just leave it at that. Another point here is, guys, we may be on the plane first, but I'm always the last one off too. Usually I'm just sitting there while everybody else is getting up and getting off the plane because I'm waiting for my assistance. I just pre-boarded the plane a few minutes early, and you are marked as a disabled passenger. This allows you to get pre-boarding. Boarding was actually a lifesaver for me. It gave a few extra minutes for the flight attendants to give me one-on-one information. They came to me, went through the safety and security stuff, showed me everything in my environment, helped me count rows to the exit, all of that pertinent information that I cannot gather or see when they're doing their spiel to the rest of the crew. So that is valuable to me as a blind individual. As I mentioned earlier, I am a white cane user. Now, do I need it all the time? No, but some places are well lit and I'm okay without it, and some places aren't, and I do need it. Regardless, I still have it out 100% of the time when traveling alone. This is kind of a controversial thing. A lot of people have strong opinions about this, because even if they're traveling alone, they'd rather kind of risk the anxiety of missing a step or falling or bumping into something or whatever the case may be. They'd rather risk that than to have a cane out because they feel like the white cane labels them and kind of makes them a target for violence or for someone to take advantage of them. I get this. I mean, it does make you feel a little vulnerable in these types of environments and situations. While I do understand and respect these people's feelings, they're valid. I have come a long way the last 20 years, and I finally have accepted using my white cane, and I've found that the pros do outweigh the cons when it comes to not carrying it. It just seems to serve me better in the long run. There's three main things why I personally will always have my cane out, even if it's just to ID myself as a visually impaired person. The first is, in an airport, you always have people walking very fast, running. You've got people going super, super slow. I want, as people are coming towards me, I don't want them to think I am being disrespectful, I'm being rude or anything like that by not getting out of their way. It's because I can't see them, and so I'm the last person that's probably going to be moving. I'm not playing chicken. And it's just so much easier in those situations when they see my white cane, they know they're the ones that's going to have to move because I'm not going to see them coming straight for me. The second thing is if I need to ask for instructions or directions, or I'm smelling food but I can't identify or see the label of the restaurant or what it is, I'm gonna ask. I don't want people to think that I'm an idiot. I don't want people to just make the wrong assumptions. I would rather them see my white cane. I've come to that level of acceptance of my white cane and prefer that over them thinking I'm an idiot. So when they see the white cane, they clearly know I don't need to communicate at all. I'm asking because I'm blind, I can't see. The interaction is a lot more appropriate and less awkward. The third reason, I carry it for safety and security. In airport situations, I feel like if there is an emergency or some sort of security issue or whatever the case may be, I want it to be clear that I am a disabled passenger, that I am legally blind. I am not going to be able to perform some of the tasks that people might expect of me had I not had my cane with me. I want everyone to be aware of my condition and strengths and weaknesses in an emergency situation, I guess. So for example, if something happened to a passenger, I'm not going to be the one probably to jump up to the rescue as the blind person and save the day. I mean, maybe I could beat somebody with my cane, but other than that, I'm probably not going to be that person. And I feel like if I did not have my cane with me and people were shouting to me to do something, to fix something, or to be part of the solution, they may be expecting me to do something that I'm just physically unable to do. And so for that reason, I feel like having my cane with me is just better, and it's better to disclose to everyone around me what my situation is for everyone's safety and security. Do I feel like it might paint me as a target? I feel like if someone's going to target me, they're going to probably do that whether I have a cane or not. And they might think I might be an easier target, but there's sort of safety in numbers, if you will. And I feel like in an airport environment, I'm surrounded by enough people that I don't feel like that risk is larger than the ones I mentioned earlier of, people expecting me to be able to do more than I can. That's kind of where my priorities fall. I respect all of those who feel differently. We all have valid rationale and feelings for where we are at in our journey of disabled and chronic illness life. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Let's move on, y'all. In the larger airports, you don't see the traditional golf carts anymore. Instead, they have these new modes of transportation. They're pretty cool. Sorry, I don't have a good image here, but they're kind of Segway style. The driver is standing up behind us, and in the front you have room for 6 passengers, and we sit back to back, and there's room for luggage. So pretty cool. I am on a 2-hour layover now in Dallas, Texas. Lord, this is a huge airport, y'all. Downside to traveling in an airport as a disabled passenger is they will transport you from terminal to terminal, but I felt like I had to fight them to show me where the bathrooms were and to also show me where the nearest restaurant is to my terminal. They literally just wanted to take me from one seat to the next seat, but not really help me orient to the immediate location. It's a 2-hour layover, and I'm like, hey, what are the nearest restaurants? It's very difficult to get them to take the time. I understand they're trying to get passengers to their gates as fast as possible, but that was a bit of a challenge. But hey, I found a restaurant and get ready to enjoy a dinner while I wait for my next flight. As I mentioned earlier, wheelchairs are another big controversy in the airport traveling experiences, mostly for the ambulatory population, those who are able to walk and navigate on foot without a wheelchair. The blind community, I know, specifically has very strong emotions and opinions regarding this, and rightfully so. I remember for many years, it was a requirement that if you were getting airport assistance, you had to ride in a wheelchair. And I've experienced those feelings of just not having my needs met where I prefer and how I need them met. Instead, here I am feeling like, okay, they're not listening to me. They're not giving me, my self-autonomy and independence. They're not honoring where I'm at. Instead, they're choosing the method of accommodation for me that's maybe not the best fit. For a lot of us, that kind of rubs us the wrong way. It doesn't leave you feeling warm and fuzzy. Not that I have any issue with wheelchairs, but that it's difficult for me to orient myself. I get overstimulated by all the sounds and traveling that fast in a wheelchair. With that being said, I do my best to respect and understand all sides and perspectives. For example, the airport, I have heard their side of the story, basically in that they're trying to assist every passenger to get to their terminal in time so that they don't miss their connections, and they do so quickly and efficiently so that they can help more people. And I get that. I get that it's a lot easier and quicker for them to just put a person in a wheelchair and dash them through the airport, and everyone will get out of the way when they see the wheelchair. It's just a lot easier and faster for them, especially if communication is an issue. So with that being said, I try to have grace and compassion for the airlines in that perspective. It makes sense. But on the other hand, it does put a lot of other people who are disabled in a difficult predicament. I'm really curious, what are your experiences? Have you had good ones? Have you had bad ones traveling through the airport? I'd love for you to share down below in the comments. And if you have any tips in addition to mine as far as calling the airlines ahead of time and noting your tickets, or pre-boarding, or trying to get flights during times when the airport is not crowded, that kind of stuff. If you've got anything else that you would like to share as far as tips, please do so as well. Don't forget to explore some of the other videos on the channels, my friends, and I'll see you in the next video. Blessings to you and yours.